This is WFO Radio.
WFO Radio. How's everybody doing out there? Joe Castello back with you. Another week headed to the Texas Motorplex for the Stampede of Speed. Woo! Yeah. They're actually out there right now, in fact, and I heard it has already started off like with a bang, like a huge crowd and country concerts and cows and all kinds of stuff out there. And of course, the Camping World Series will be headed that way a little bit later on this week. There's an open test on Wednesday. It is going to be great. On this show, we're going to catch you up with a whole bunch of news from the weekend. We have got the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, just seconds away, going to tell us about the big divisional event that happened out there at Worldwide Technology Raceway in St. Louis, a little back-to-back action. And also, we're going to be joined by Angelle, who won out there at the Carolina Nationals, the DeWalt Carolina Nationals. Will be back in action this week at the Motorplex. We're going to hear from Angelle just seconds from now. It's going to be Angelle and Alan for the first few minutes of the show. So if you like either of those two folks, you definitely want to share the show. Now, I do want to tell you about the people who make it all possible for me to do this. And for instance, Total Seal Piston Rings. We talk about them a lot. We just recorded a new episode of Hidden Horsepower, which you're going to love. Frank Iaconio Racing Engines. We're going to speak with Gary Stinnett a little bit later today. We're going to do a question and answer episode a little bit later today. It's going to be hot, baby. But out there at 1 o'clock on Friday at the Texas Motorplex, we'll be doing another Trackside Tech Talk. Keith Jones from Total Seal, the director of technical sales, will be there. Hartford will be in the house, of course. Ed Keebler from Rottler Machining will be out there to answer questions from Lucas Oil Series racers, engine builders, etc. So if you're going to be at the Plex on Friday already, you're welcome to come out and learn a little bit about Ring Seal. Go to totalseal.com to find out more information. Also, samtech.edu. Speaking of people in Texas who know a little something about machining, they do. Samtech.edu. Blockhead, CNC programs, motorsport, EFI tuning. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. Go to samtech.edu today. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. If you're interested in a great education, in a great career, in something you love, maybe you're not. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. The ride of a lifetime, right? The Dragster Adventure, frankhawley.com. Go to the website. Courses start at $399. Really, it's an adrenaline experience. You go drive a dragster for a half day. Make a half track and 2 full track passes. They can even set up a race. You and your friends, your sales team, your crew, your great rival, your arch enemy. You could settle it all on the racetrack instead of having a duel. frankhawley.com. Check him out. And then, of course, my great friend, Marvin Rodak, rodakscoffeeandgrills.com. Hot sauces and spice rubs, everything good. 817-924-6821. That's Marvin. Get some coffee roasted for your team. A special blend that'll give you the mojo to win the next race. 817-924-6821. A little bit later on in the show, so much great information. Like I want to tell you about Dom and Sarah getting married. I want to tell you about Gary Pritchett's big match race and all the good stuff. But right now, we're going to bring on the voice of the NHRA, Mr. Alan Reinhart. Oh, get rid of those reading glasses, man. You don't have to wear reading glasses. No way. You're not that old.
I wear reading glasses, and I had LASIK before, but no, I wasn't even texting Angelle, which I know is what you thought I was doing, but no, I was sending somebody an update since this is my one day home. I actually stayed an extra day in the St. Louis area because we ended up with rain and didn't finish until yesterday. So instead of flying home early yesterday morning, I flew home late last night. This is my one day home, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm on the big Silver Bird going to Dallas.
All right, the Big D. I love it. And we're going to have a good time out there. Everybody's talking about how the Stampede of Speed has started off strongly, and I will get into that. But I think we should welcome our guest right away, right at the top. This is a winner view for the DeWalt Tools NHRA Carolina Nationals, which she won, but then had to go home and immediately go to work dealing with Hurricane Ida fallout. And I figure what we'll do is we'll both enjoy a little Angelle. Angelle, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
Suddenly, it's like a better segment. Joe, Alan, and Angelle. Right, Alan? It's like so much more like uplifted.
She put her in the middle.
I wish I could.
Be in between the two thorns.
Well, I would have to disconnect both of you, and then she'd have to reconnect. Yeah, I don't have the power to do that. Do I? No. Sorry.
I'm good.
That would be better, though, Alan. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with Alan. And hey, everybody's checking in on social media, just saying what's up, getting ready for Dallas, of course. Sammy Eubanks out there, who's listening from New York, who is all out there. Monica says you're a very busy man, Alan. So the social media is in full effect. But Angelle, this win was you know, it's almost good that we waited a couple of weeks for you to digest all that went down. That was an emotional event for 15 different reasons.
It was. I was trying to get that win 2 races before that at the U.S. Nationals, and I really thought I was going to get it that day. Eddie stole it from me. I made a little mistake on the starting line, and he grabbed the win. I was pretty devastated because I wanted it so bad for my friends and family back at home. It's been rough here. Getting a little bit better, but we still do have some areas that don't have power. I got very lucky. As you can see, my house is still standing and looks great, but there are sections of my home that are really ugly right now. But yeah, that win, I wanted it in the U.S. Nationals. I wanted it at Reading. I didn't get it there. So I felt like my last shot, not for the year, but you know, in that 3-race segment was to snatch it at Charlotte. And I almost gave it away. If Joey had not had the bad luck that he had and I hadn't had the good luck, then I wouldn't have gotten that Wally, but I was able to take it home. And I really knew that it was going to mean a lot to the people here, but I didn't know how much. And, you know, some people told me that it was awesome for them to be able to watch and cheer me on and have something else to think about because things were just so devastating here back at home. So I was really glad to do that for them.
And let's look at some of these photographs you sent just so the audience understands and I understand. Like when you went home to work to do, like, of course, Wally loves being home.
Yeah.
But I knew there was devastation, Angelle, but I didn't really, you know, this personalizes it. If this is your street or a street that you're working on, like this is serious.
That's a gas station and home on nearby. The other one was actually my brother's street. I didn't get any pictures of mine before they cleaned up the mess. We had piles just like that all down my whole street. Actually, pretty much all of our parish and some of the surrounding parishes still have the sides of the streets that look like that. They're working furiously to pick up the debris and the trash, but it's a slow process because there's just so much of it.
And work inside too, like
yeah,
mold,
that's my house.
Water. This is your house.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, that's my kitchen. It's not so fun to eat in that kitchen anymore right now, but that's where my table usually sits. The roof was damaged pretty well and water got into the attic, which eventually came down the walls. And as you can see, they had to take all the insulation out and take the ceiling out of the kitchen. We had to take all the insulation out of the whole attic. Some of the walls had to be removed. You saw the mold on the baseboards. The house smelled horrible. Ava's room was pretty bad. We had to remove one. That's her room right there. We had to take the carpet out, cut the bottom of the walls. There was one wall we had to remove a big portion of. Maya's room, the carpet had to come out of. There's another room upstairs in our bonus room they wanted to gut. I'm trying to not do that. I'm waiting to see if we can air it out and dry it out before we do any more to the house. But you know, I'm lucky. That's a very small issue compared to what my friends have to deal with. I have a couple of friends who lost everything. My friend Kelly is a single mom and her whole house was destroyed. A friend Paul, his parents' house was destroyed. My friend Dawn, her parents' house and her sister's house was destroyed. So we're not talking about just a couple of walls. We're talking about the whole home was totaled. So there's a lot going on here. I did sell some things on eBay, trying to raise some money to help myself as well as some friends out. I would like to do some more eBay sales. It's just been really busy trying to get that done. And now we're going to be leaving for Dallas. So going there with the same mission, hopefully bring another Wally home. And if we do, then I'll be putting more stuff on eBay to sell.
Alan, jump in here with a question.
Have you got your family back together yet? I know you said at one point, you know, Seth was home taking care of the home front, even though he didn't have power, just trying to keep everything working there. And one of your kids was in Indy and one of them was, have you got everybody back together yet?
Yeah. Right after Charlotte, I flew back to Jackson, Mississippi, got my vehicle that was parked there, had some wonderful people, a guy named Pete Tire. He kept my vehicle for me while I was in, I can't even remember, all a blur now. I think when I was in Indy and my brakes had gone out while I was at, yeah, it was such a long story. I had to evacuate from here. I went to near Monroe, drove to Jackson to catch a plane. My brakes went out on my truck. My flight was delayed. I almost missed the flight. But Pete Tire, Tires Automotive, he came and got my truck. He fixed it for me. By the time I flew back to Jackson, my truck was all ready to go. I picked up Ava. My mother-in-law and my father-in-law dropped off Maya to me. We drove back through another storm, a terrible storm, to get back to home. Seth was back here just trying to take care of our house, but he was trying to take care of our business. We have a business called Coral Fever. We do custom saltwater aquariums. So he was really killing himself there, trying to keep the water going, trying to keep it from getting too hot. We ended up losing quite a bit of livestock. We were able to save our equipment. The building didn't take on any damage, so we were lucky there. But like I said, I was a lot luckier than most people around here. My family's safe. We're all back together, and our house is good. We just got to get it all fixed.
You know,
That's awesome.
Nebraska's nice, and they don't have hurricanes. I'm just thinking,
Yeah, I was trying to think of a place to go. I actually suggested to Seth that maybe we should buy a food truck, sell Cajun cooking out of it, move to Indiana, and hop from race shop to race shop selling Cajun food. And that would be maybe a little bit of an easier life for us away from the hurricanes. But then there's the snow. So I don't know where to go.
Yeah. The South Florida guy right here. I've thought about it. Like, where do you go? Right? Like, hey, let's go to Kansas. No, there's tornadoes. Hey, let's go out west. No, they've got earthquakes out there. There's stuff everywhere, and wildfires. No, thank you. A hurricane every 10 years or something. But they seem to be coming a little more. But yes, terrible situation. But what you've done with it, though, right? To make positive out of a negative situation, shining a light on so many people for doing good stuff, like the Cajun Navy down there, for instance, and bringing a little happiness with that win. What else can you hope to ask for than moments like that, especially in a tough time?
Yeah, if you guys could see the way the community down here comes together. I mean, Cajun people are already so hospitable and loving and caring and sharing. But to see the way they come together in an episode like this with the storm, people are helping others before they help themselves. And it's just an amazing sight. And that's why I wanted to bring light to the situation. Cajun Navy is perfect. You guys look it up. I think it's CajunRelief.org is the website that you can go to. It's a group of people that came together when no one else was there to help. And they decided they were going to help themselves and help everybody themselves. And now it's turned into a really big organization. I'm so proud of them and anything I can do to help. So you guys check out their website. But it's been hectic down here. We still, like going into Houma, which is our nearest town next door, 50 to 65% of the stores are finally open. Most things were shut down. So it's kind of weird. It's hard to find a place to get a haircut. It's hard to find. You just need to go pick something up at the store, and you get to that store and it's still closed because of the damage. And it's a different way of life when something happens this bad. But we're pulling together. They're still bringing supplies in for people further down south where Jerry is, actually. Jerry Savoy and the war team. Jerry had a terrible amount of damage, and his area is still really bad. That's where some of the area still doesn't have electricity. As far as I know, I think some people still don't. We went a total of 19 days without electricity at my house.
Oh my goodness. That is horrific. We got some people checking in on social media. I think Dawn is a family member, I would guess. My beautiful friend.
Dawn, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't read it. You got to read it to me.
My beautiful friend, can't wait to watch you this weekend. Bring another Wally home. Love you, Angelle, says Dawn.
Yeah, actually, that's Dawn. She's one of my trainers that I work out with, her and her husband, Lance. And she's the one I mentioned earlier. Her parents lost their home. Her sister lost her home. Her parents are living with Dawn right now. And just so you guys know, some of these people, Paul, who lost his home, Kelly, who lost her home, and Dawn, whose family, they're all coming with me to Dallas. I figured it would be a good opportunity to get them out of this area and out of this heat and humidity and the mess that we're living in, and take them somewhere exciting and fun. And what better place than to take them to the NHRA, where the Stampede of Speed is going on all week long. So we're going to all jump in a vehicle together, and we're going to drive to Dallas, and they're going to be there to root me on, and we're all going to keep our fingers crossed and maybe pass a little Cajun gris-gris on everybody else so that I can bring the Wally home.
Wow. It's like the Italian Malocchia. It's like, right? Everybody's got the same thing. All right, before we move towards that, and, Fallon, you have a question. I want to ask, though, just looking back to Charlotte, she got through flying Ryan, Andrew, and Eddie back-to-back before she ran Joey. The Joey run has gotten so much, emotion attached to it with Corey Reed's situation. It's so easy to talk about now, so much more easy to talk about now that Corey's home and everything. In the moment, we were all just very raw. Right.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about beating Andrew and Eddie back to back. Like, that's Not easy to do. And you're in that team. Like, that had to be satisfying and a little difficult all at the same time.
I have to say, yeah, that thank God it did happen that way, because when I made it to the finals and I beat Joey, I felt embarrassed. I felt guilty. I didn't feel like I had deserved the win. You know, I messed up on the starting line. I had a terrible reaction time. Joey got ahead of me. I could see him. I thought the race was over. And then all of a sudden he disappeared and I passed him up. And that was because his kill switch on the bike came loose and disconnected and killed his engine. So a great bit of luck on my side that day and a lot of bad luck on Joey's in the final round. And of course, also with Corey and him, you know, having that collision. But the way that I was able to realize that I did deserve the win was because of the people I had to beat to get there. You know, Ryan is not an easy race, first round. And then Eddie and Andrew, to get past them second and third round, I really felt like I earned my way into the final. And then, yes, I had some luck to get the Wally, but it's difficult because Eddie and Andrew both work on my motorcycle. Andrew tunes my motorcycle. So I know that they're giving me the best bike in the world to race against them. Sometimes I think people wonder if there's any team orders. And as you can see, you know, Eddie took the win for me in Indy when I wanted and needed it so bad. And I took the win away from both of them in Charlotte. So we're up there racing to kill each other. And I have two guys that are giving me everything they can to win, not only the race, but the championship.
There you go. Alan, question for Angelle.
The last 2 weeks, have you any racing at all or just completely focused at home? I mean, I know that when you were at the racetrack, you were always seemed like continuously distracted because you knew everything that's going on at home. The last couple of weeks, have you had any racing distractions or has it just been solid focus on trying to get the home front back together?
I've been 100% focused on the house and our community. I've spent countless hours on the phone trying to get in touch with the insurance company and FEMA and anybody and everybody we need to speak to get some help. Insurance companies are not fun to deal with in a situation like this, especially when there's this many people affected. So we're in line waiting. We had an adjuster come out, but we still haven't heard anything on what's going to happen with the damage. But yeah, so 100% cleaning up. Seth mainly has been doing a lot of work in the yard trying to clean up. I mean, you can imagine the rooftops of hundreds of homes just spread out all over our entire community. So it took some time to pick up all the debris out of the yard. It's still a mess, but it looks a lot better. I have laid in my bed several nights thinking about racing, you know, knowing that I need to do a better job on the starting line. And I've been thinking about that and trying to come up with a plan on what I'm going to do in Dallas as far as keeping my focus straight. I'm 17 points behind first place. I'm trying not to make that a big issue for myself. You know, whatever happens, happens. The points will come if I just do my job. So I'm going to go out there, have a good time, take it one round at a time. And my main focus is really just to show my team, Vance and Hines and Mission, that I can drive this motorcycle the way it needs to be driven to show everybody what it's capable of. Because let me tell you guys, it's a bad motor scooter. I haven't showed all of its capability yet. It's coming.
Wow.
Is Seth coming to Dallas?
He is. I'm taking the whole gang. I'm going to have, I think, 9 people with me. So it'll be fun.
Wow. Well, it is going to be fun. A special event. It's going on right now. There's, things happening, cars on track, rodeos, concerts. Lonnie wants to know if Alan or myself will be singing at any of the stages set up there. I can assure you I will not. Maybe Alan will do like a dramatic read or something. But they've really gone over the top, and it's kind of making it a very exciting event. There'll be 4 qualifying sessions. And you mentioned your championship implications. Inside of a round now, you are right in the middle of this championship effort. And more than ever before in a 2-week span, have I heard the 1 round at a time cliche. Because that's the only way to do it, right? Everybody says the same thing, and it's getting a little annoying. Like, come on. But I get why, because that's how you do it.
It's true. You know, we have to just keep telling ourselves that, because it's so easy to focus on the big picture. You know, not even, the championship is really big. Everybody wants to win a championship, but you can't even focus on winning the race. You know, I can't go to Dallas thinking I got to win this race. I want to win this race, because I have to qualify first. You know, you got to get down the track first. So you really do have to just keep telling yourself, just keep drilling it in that 1 round at a time. And there's so many other things you have to drill into yourself. And that's like don't worry about who's in the other lane, because that could be such a huge disadvantage when you're starting to worry about who you have to race against. So I need to stay in my lane. I need to pretty much play golf when I'm at the racetrack this weekend, because in the game of golf, no one can affect your score but yourself. And that's what I need to do this weekend. So going to have some fun and play golf.
I like it.
Bowling.
Yeah, or
That's
bowling,
cool.
same thing.
Bowling, golf.
Bowling probably even more. Well, I don't know, I guess because you got to get the ball straight down in golf, but you got to get the ball straight down the alley.
I always use the analogy of bowling, because in bowling, you don't have to beat everybody in the house. You just got to beat the guy in the next lane.
That's
And
perfect.
for anybody that bowls, sometimes you throw 225 and you get your teeth handed to you, and sometimes you threw 148 and you end up with a win.
Yeah.
You only got to beat the guy in the next lane.
Another thing, we're talking about points and championships, and why it's so important to focus on one round at a time. Because let's say going into Friday, first round of qualifying, if I just focus on that one run and I make an exceptional pass and it goes low of the round, if my motorcycle is low of the round, that's extra points. So, we're racing for those baby points every round of qualifying. Of course, you want low ET of the round and on race day so you can get lane choice. So it's really important to just keep the focus on one round at a time. So I'm sorry you're tired of hearing that, but that's what I'm going to keep telling myself all weekend.
No, listen, you're not the only one. You're not alone. Hey, Angelle, Blake from Wyoming. Blake, who you and I met out in Atlanta. Alan, you may recall Blake. Blake has been a loyal listener. He's got a question. What motivates you, Angelle? What motivates you? Like, I can imagine there's a bunch of different stuff. You do not have a loss of things to motivate you right now.
There's a lot of external motivations always. There never seems to be a lack of things to motivate me. The last few races, it was my hometown. Most of the time, it's my daughters, Ava and Maya. Sometimes it's my husband, who always he said I can do anything. And if he hears me say, I don't know if I can do this anymore, he gets pretty upset with me. But the main motivation is something I can't even explain. It's inside of me. I don't know where it comes from. It's my desire and my passion for winning. And it goes with anything I do. Like Alan just said, bowling. I mean, sometimes we go bowling for the fun of it, and I'm so determined to win and beat everybody. I don't know how to lose. I don't take it very well. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who instilled it in me, but it is huge. And there's never a lack of motivation. I'm even 25 years into it. I'm 51 years old. I've been doing this forever. I have 44 of these Wallies behind me, and it's not enough. I still want it as much today, if not more, as I wanted it the first day I ever stepped foot on an NHRA drag racing track.
Wow. That's great stuff. Alan, final questions for Angelle before we let her go back to, cleaning up hurricane damage.
Let's talk about Dallas. Good track, bad track, nuances for the motorcycles. I mean, everybody in the nitro cars always talks about, obviously, the all concrete track, sometimes a little bit of a narrow groove, huge grandstands. You got to come out from behind. Tell me, riding a motorcycle in Dallas, what's good, what's bad?
Well, actually, the worst part of it is if we get a crosswind. It's really difficult to get down it. I was actually speaking to Andrew about it last night. So we're hoping for no crosswind, tailwind, headwind. Of course, always a tailwind would be better, so you can see some good 200-mile-an-hour runs, which I don't know if that's going to happen because of the heat that we're looking to have this weekend, but it does look like we're going to have a lot of sun. So I'm excited about that. No rain. But Dallas, what I want to say about that track is how excited I am of what they've been doing all week long and how they're pumping this whole race up, and they're making it exciting for us as racers. We're going to have 4 rounds of qualifying. We haven't had that in a long time. I'm so excited about that. Full payouts. I mean, it's just going to be an amazing race. It's like the old days before COVID. So hopefully we're hoping that next year or sometime soon, what Dallas is doing this weekend at the Texas Motorplex is what every track will be able to do for us. It's just not just a drag race for the weekend, but I think they turned it into a statewide event. So if they can do it, everybody else can do it. If us as racers can help promote that kind of thing, then I'm all for it too. So I will be there Thursday evening. I will not be doing the test session on Wednesday. Had too much going on at home, but I will be there Thursday evening for the autograph session. So I'm looking forward to that and hoping a lot of people show up for that.
Yes. Waxahachie, where that is going down. Angelle, great job as usual. Appreciate you accommodating us here on Tuesday before the event to speak with you about your big win. You're right in the middle of the championship hunt. Great stuff. Alan, anything else for Angelle before we let her go?
No, all good. I'll see you in a couple of days.
There you go.
Miss you
Angelle,
guys. I can't wait to be there.
Yeah, we appreciate you too. And thank you for coming on the show, and just so happy you were able to deliver for all the people back home. That is a very, very big deal. Great job.
If I could take one more second,
Yes,
I forgot. I wanted to tell you guys, my sponsor, Mission Foods, they're in Dallas. So that's another reason why when we were asking about the motivation, I completely forgot. I talked about it earlier. So this weekend, like I said, there always seems to be some external reason I get motivated. Well, Dallas is the home of Mission Foods. So Juan Gonzalez and his team will all be watching and hoping that we can bring home a Wally for Mission Foods this weekend. So there you go. There's my motivation on top of everything else.
Love it. Love it. Great job. We will see you out there. Good luck this weekend. Thanks for coming on WFO Radio.
Thanks, guys.
There she goes, Angelle. How about that? Alan, how about that? Angelle, she does such a great job. And the emotions of everything that happened in Charlotte that day, and now to be able to take it, make it good, and go on to Dallas and have fun with the friends and the family out there. Like, get them out of there and bring them to the race and enjoy. Like, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm sure that by now Seth needs a break, because when she escaped and she was staying out on the back-to-back races because getting in and out of New Orleans was very difficult at the time anyway. And he was the one that had to stay home and try to keep the business going and try to save as much as he could and try to, without electricity, so if anybody needs an escape, it's him, and it'll be good to see him get away and, maybe just have a couple of days where he can breathe easy and not have to worry about the pressures of the world, because he's a good dude. Anybody that knows him knows he's a really good dude.
The Stampede of Speed concept, Jolie Stanfield called in on Ignition last night and said that it started off with a massive crowd. Like, there are people there. They're going there. The Lantern Festival, some rodeo stuff. There's cars on track. There's grudge racing. Palmer was out there with Studezilla. Like, there's stuff going on, and it's an interesting concept building to the crescendo that is the Texas Fall Nationals this week.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting concept is a good way to put it. When I first heard about this, I got to tell you, my initial knee-jerk reaction was, it's a little too much. If you've got something that you want to grow, you kind of grow and grow and grow and grow is kind of the way that my theory is, the way I've kind of done things. But when you go, okay, this is something we want to grow, here's what we're going to try first. And like I say, my initial thing was that, maybe that's a little bit too much. But the state of Texas is behind them. That's huge. The Convention and Visitor Bureau, that's huge. Andy Carter is a guy that is not afraid to take a swing at it. Right? That's the story, right? Everything's bigger in Texas. So, when he and Christie and the guys get together, it's like, okay, look, we could do something a little, or we could just blow it out. And they decided to go for it. And I kind of feel like you, the first couple of events I've seen, very pleasantly surprised at the number of people that are there. I hope it keeps building momentum throughout the week. You know what? Give us good weather, and I don't see what could possibly hold us back. So, so far, I'm very impressed with the concept, and I'm very impressed with the early outcome, the early returns.
And what we hope is that, like, if it's supposedly, and again, this was just, Jolie's guess, right? But she thought there might have been 20,000 people there the other night for the big concert. And so, man, wouldn't it be great if you could get, 20% of those people to decide to come to the drag races this weekend? Like, that would be great. And just showcase the sport and the track and the facility. And like, this is where you come when you want to come to a big event to those people. I think it's going to be great. I'm excited to be a part of it. But hey, now that Angelle has come on, kind of set the table for us, we've got to do our normal deal, which is you were in St. Louis at Worldwide Technology Raceway, calling divisional action, some points implications maybe. Why don't you just give us your recap? Some people were asking a little bit earlier about Alan's recap of the divisional racing and, what of it? What do you got? Like, look at this. Jeff says, maybe Alan can talk about the double divisional series points implications there.
To tell you the truth, I'd have to go online and see who won. The first event ran to conclusion. The second event, we ended up getting rain on Saturday, rain on Sunday, completed on Monday. I changed the flight. I got the last flight out on Monday, but I literally had to leave before the event was concluded. We were basically down in the semifinals and about everything. and I had to go. And I have not looked. I got home late last night. I was up early this morning, running around, bouncing around because I got a bunch of stuff that I got to get done before I leave. I couldn't even tell you who won the second one. I can tell you that Doug Gordon winning the alcohol funny car thing really thrust him right back into the point chase. You know, he and Sean Bellemere have been kind of changing body blows. I also understand that Sean Bellemere blew his car up last weekend and may not even run in Dallas. And if that's the case, if Doug can go down there and win in Dallas, that would be huge. Jackie Frick won the alcohol dragster over Rachel Meyer. It's been a year, right? I should have Megan cycled out by now.
Yes.
But, you know, those two ladies sitting 1 and 2 in the points, and there's still some claiming to do there. So, you know, there was just a lot going on. Gary Stennett had a terrible weekend. First round out in both races. I couldn't tell you the last time that happened. Luke Pagacki had a decent weekend, and he's, you know, sitting pretty in the super gas points. So there's still a lot going on. There's still a lot of racing to go on. But, you know, aside from the fact that we just kept getting annoying weather, and we'd get, you know, a pop-up shower that would just get the racetrack damp, so we'd have to stop 30 minutes. Okay. Then we get a bigger pop-up shower. We have to stop for 2 hours. Then it would rain like hell for 15 minutes. And it's like, okay, now we got to start all over again. And that's what ended up pushing the race back to Monday. But, you know, it's a fun area of the country to be in. You know, Chris Blair, John Beachy, the guys that make that track work, you know, they always do their best for the racers, and they put in the best effort to give them the best track they had. But it was a good 5 days.
I love Blair now, you know. Blair helped hook me up with the Stones tickets. So now he's like, you know, one of my favorites. And so I've obviously getting the tweets from him this morning, very complimentary to you and the announcing that you did this weekend. It was just interesting to say, I got a new thing for Blair now. Chris Blair, like the guy hooked me up with the Stones tickets, or hooked me up with the person that hooked me up with the Stone tickets, et cetera, and so on. Thank you, Blair. But on to Texas. You know, let's start off with Pro Stock Motorcycle, since we just heard from Angelle. She mentioned she's 17 points behind. That's Steve Johnson, who she's behind. There's a great story on Matt Smith on NHRA.com, who's 30 points behind. Eddie's 39 points behind. Scotty's in fifth, less than 100 points behind. This thing is still very wide open. The big news of the past week, though, was that Steve Johnson's crew chief, or, you know, brother in life, however you want to say it, Jock, had a terrible incident on the way home from Charlotte, I guess, and, you know, is either not going to be there or not able to be there, going to have to be on the phone, healing up. Crazy story. You can go to Jock's Facebook page if you want to find out more about it. But I wonder how that's going to affect Steve Johnson as he chases this championship.
Well, it's certainly going to have an effect. You know, what we're going to see now is how resilient Steve is and if he can come back from this. And I got all the respect in the world for Steve Johnson, but you know, Steve is kind of this.
Yeah.
And Jock was a guy that really did help keep him focused, help keep him on point, would take on a lot of responsibility. So when Steve kind of went on a Steve, that Jock could kind of get him back and get him focused. And that, I think, I think Steve is going to miss that maybe even more than the mechanical ability and the rest of the stuff. Is just that Jock was such a big part of making sure that Steve was on point, making sure he knew, you know, what he needed to do, when he needed to do it, and that he was focused when it was time to go to the starting line. Because Steve would tell you this. I'm certainly not talking behind his back. He would tell you that there have been a lot of times in the past when he would go to the racetrack, and actually racing was about the third or fourth priority that he had when he went to the racetrack. And Jock is a guy that always made sure that it's like, Steve, here's what we're here for. Here's what we came for. Here's what. So, you know, keeping that focus, I think, is going to be one of the biggest challenges.
I agree. I'm interested in that. Like the championship stories are so good. Steve's championship story would be great. Angelle, we just talked a little bit about that. You know, Matt going for another one. But when I saw the Jock story, I thought immediately, first thought, like, you know, thank goodness Jock is okay, because they've got a baby on the way. There's a lot going on. Like that could have been another tragedy that we just narrowly avoided, like the Corey Reed thing, tragedy narrowly avoided. But once the tragedy is avoided, wow, this is going to be tough on Steve. Like it's going to be a challenge, because Jock is like the rock of the team. Like he's a solid foundation emotionally for the team. And Steve's going to have to get it done without him or with him on the phone. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting to see. And that's just more drama for the NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle category. And, you know, good luck to everybody this weekend. Pro Stock, you know what? As we speak, maybe starting in an hour and a half, Greg Anderson being inducted into the Mooresville Hall of Fame. and that is a big deal for Greg. I think last year it was supposed to go down, and they didn't do it because of the COVID, and this is like the year that it is observed. Big deal for Greg. Greg leads Erica by 17, Kid Chaos by 97. This is kind of the story we've talked about all year long. Greg, Erica, and who might else get in the mix. There are some others. But boy, what happened in St. Louis, the missed opportunity, the tough light, all of those things. What's the best way to handle this, Alan? Just forget it and move forward with the lead?
Absolutely. One of the key things, I think, to being a championship athlete at any level is to have a short memory. And I don't think that comes into play anywhere more clearly than golf, because you take a guy who makes a bad shot. If I make a bad shot off the tee and I'm over the tall grass, I walk over there with the club in my hand and I'm still upset and I'm pissed off. And by the time, I'm not focusing at all on what I'm doing because I'm pissed off about where I am. But if Rory McIlroy makes a bad shot and he ends up over in the grass, then he just goes over and goes, okay, it's like I'm going to need a 7 iron. Yeah, I can hook it around that tree. And the last shot is just completely erased. Here's the task at hand. Here's the position I'm in. Here's what I got to do to go forward, and does it. And in racing, you've got to do the same thing. If you pull up and light the first bulb, I don't care what class you're in. I don't care if you're running a minivan Friday night and a gambler for $10. If you light the first light and your first thought is, don't screw this up, you might as well just shut the car off because you ain't going to win. You've got to go up there, look at the other lane, and go, sucks to be you. Do my job. And, erase. That's the only thing you can do. Erase. If you go up there thinking about anything other than, I came to kick your tail and I'm going to do it, then you're not focusing on the task at hand, and that's what you've got to do.
Erica with a big birthday weekend this weekend, a lot of positive energy over there, and just the way it's shaping up. I couldn't say one way or another which way it's going to go at this point, and I do know it's going to come down to like what we saw at Worldwide Technology Raceway, like if someone has a bad light and takes themselves out, or steps over the edge and blows the back window out or something. Like, this is totally undecided. Two of the greatest of all time on the quest for the 5th championship in pro stock. Like, to me, if there was no other racing, this would be highly interesting and intriguing.
Well, I've known Greg a long time. All the way back to the Warren Johnson crew member days. I have all the respect in the world for him. But I really believe right now, after having watched all year long, Greg has a slightly better car. And Eric is doing a slightly better job driving. And that's what's keeping the two of them in the 2-horse race. And they have distanced themselves from the field. Okay, it's only 100 points away from Kid Chaos, so I'm not saying it's over. But all year long, it's been Greg with the best car and Erica doing the best job driving. And those two have won the vast majority of the races. And I think that's what's going to come down here at the end of the year. If Greg can get his focus in the car, then I think he's going to be very difficult to beat, because I think he has the best car. But Erica right now is just going up there with blood in her eye. When she goes up there and goes, and it's interesting because watching Erica over the years, the championships that she's won, I've seen her when she had the best car. And her task is, don't mess up, you have the best car. And she won the championship.
Right.
And I've seen her go up there with the second or third best car and go up there and go, you have to be the difference. And she makes the difference and has won the championship. And right now, and she's got, I'm telling you, she's got blood in her eyes. It's, that's the goal. That's the task. I have to be better than him, because I believe his equipment right now is a little quicker than mine. And it worked last week. And Greg needs to get back on point when he's in the car. He's got himself a great car, but he needs to get on point when he's in the car.
Yeah. And Courtney sent this photograph last week just about Erica and the support system that she has, like, get her ready to go out there and crush. Yeah, you just have to be 10 or better. Okay. And she did it. Right? Like, that's, to me, that's one for the ages, along with the side-by-side trip zips. And there were just a couple of, huge runs in her career, and that's going to be one of them. You got to be 10 or better.
Crazy.
She did.
I'm sorry, it's crazy, but you're talking about, and, obviously people are like, well, why don't you do it all the time? Well, she does. Better than most, almost all the time. But the guys, and I mean that gender neutral term, Dan Fletcher one time 100 years ago in the Super Stocker, right? No delay box, bottom bulb, but doing the stuff we're talking about reaction times. And has always said, his goal is to be 20. And then he thinks he can drive the finish line and get it done. And there's some guys whose goal up there is to always be 00. And if you're going to always be 00, you're going to be red occasionally. You know, if you're going to be 20, you might be 00 occasionally, but hopefully you won't be red. On the other side, you might be 35 occasionally, and that's what's going to cost you. And during the course of this conversation, Bob says, well, how close can you pick the light? He said, well, I can do it within 100. And Bob bet him, I think it was $50, that he couldn't be between 10 and 20 on his next light. That was the window. That was the 100th he had. Just be between 10 and 20.
Right.
And so Dan pulls up and he's 15. It's
right.
Like,
yeah.
And when you tell Erica, you got to be 10 or better, and she goes, okay. And there's not a whole lot of people that can do that, but she seems to be able to do it and do it on a regular basis. So I really think from watching all year long, that's what it's going to come down to. You know, if Erica's team can keep the car doing what it's doing, she seems to be driving a little bit better than anybody else in the field right now. And Greg seems to have a little bit better car, but he needs to get it done when he's just sitting inside it. And again,
definitely.
I don't think I'm telling tales out of school. I think Greg would tell you the same thing.
Well, definitely a showcase of the Pro Stock All-Stars on the two teams that are most in competition. Like you look over
Fun to
there,
watch.
you got Dave Connolly, right? Like everybody is there. Like this is the best of the best that Pro Stock has to offer. There's nobody not involved that could do it better, and so it's going to be very interesting to see. And that's it. Like whichever way it goes, choose your sides, get a flag, be ready to root, because 3 races remaining and it's going to be great. Funny car. I wonder, we had Hagen on last week. We had Dickie Venables on last week. Hopefully everybody checked that out to see Matt and Dickie together talking with each other about methodology and everything. I found that to be very interesting. And their rapport together was great stuff. Dickie also talked about the time his pants got blown off, which was really fun. But I'm wondering, you were there for that? You want to add?
Oh, yeah. No, if Dickie talked about it, Dickie talked about it. If
Well,
anybody that doesn't know,
yeah,
go ahead.
Well, the aftermath, it happens, right? And then, is everybody okay? Yeah, everybody's okay, mostly. I just can't imagine what that was like. The comedy.
They were having a problem with the throttle stop, and Dickie waved to the guy in front and said, lift the body up, lift the body up. When he lifted the body up, it grabbed the throttle and opened it, and the car went whoop. And he was basically, standing over the header, so it blew his pants off. It also ran over the guy in front of the car, knocked out a few of his teeth, and the car ended up on top of the A board by the Christmas tree, and it was
bad deal.
Yeah.
But only one guy's
Bob
remembered.
Fry called me. I was at the top end of the racetrack, and Bob Fry called me, and he said, "You might want to come back." And I said, "Well, we still got like 10 funny cars to run." He said, "No, we're going to be down for a while."
Oh man! But it was great to see those two interact, and I just feel like, all right, they got 59-point lead over Cap, 72 over Force, 99 over Cruz. So you still got 4 teams within 100. JR is 115 back, but Hagen and Dickie got these guys on the ropes if they can perform well here at the Motorplex, where they traditionally perform pretty darn well. They can go out there and get another win. I'm not saying it's over by any means. There's still a long way to go, but that will thin the field and that will make a statement. And confidence that will take some of the soul away from these other teams if they can go out there and put it on them again.
I think it's theirs to lose. I think, they've got the lead. They've got a very good car. They've got a very consistent car. I think if they go out there and don't make any mistakes, I really believe it's theirs to lose. Because as these races wind down, and yes, there's still 4 left. It's, an oddball season because we're going
right.
Dallas, Bristol, then Vegas, and Pomona. So there's still time left. But at what point do the other teams start pressing a little bit? Because, it's like, okay, we can't just do what we've been doing because he's kicking us. He's kicking our tail. So I honestly believe that it's theirs to lose. They just need to go out and keep doing what they're doing. And unless somebody gets red hot, I certainly like Matt's chances from where I'm sitting.
Yes, exactly. Blake wants to know what kind of car is that behind you? And there's 2, actually.
Yeah, the silver one is my Mercedes, and the green one's my 67 Mustang.
There it is, the 67 Mustang. Excellent. All right, and then there's, on the Hagen point, I just want to mention, there's still so many good cars, right? But someone's got to get them early. You got to get them early. You can't let them go to the semis now. How many racers have told us that you go to the semifinals every race? That's the strategy to win the championship. Someone's got to get them early. And like you said, that could be a recipe for smoking the tires and letting them get a free one. There are 18 funny cars entered, 18 fuelers, 18 funny cars, 20 pro stock, 19 pro stock motorcycles. So there will be a race within a race qualifying. Qualifying points are going to make a difference, but someone's got to get to the leaders early, especially in funny car.
I'll tell you the guy that's been the biggest surprise to me so far over the course of the last month or so, and that's Robert Height. And because they've been snake bitten. I mean, just look at what's been going on over there. We know how talented those guys are. We know how fast they are, and they're getting no results whatsoever. I really think that having this time off is something that they needed, because they need to go back to the shop and just basically purge, reload, and get ready to come back and go. When you're on a hot streak, man, you want to race every 5 minutes, right? Let's race again on Tuesday. Let's race again on Thursday, because you got the momentum going. And when you're not, sometimes you just need to call a timeout someplace. And so, obviously there hadn't been a timeout in the last month, but they had one now to go back home and to regroup and to do so. I look for that team to bounce back. Whether or not they've still got a chance to get into the championship, they're going to have to make a big move. But that's a team that it's hard to say the Auto Club team is a sleeper, but really, if you look at the last couple of weeks, that's a team that really waiting for them to bust out.
Well, they're not done yet. They still have life, but they've got to move now. That's all. You got to move now and get a little help with Hagan going out early. And then, had a conversation with John Force about it. And he says, that's a team that's capable of winning 4 out, winning 4 in a row. They haven't shown it right now, but they are still capable of doing it. They got to do something as we speak. Now is the time. And to me, that's what's interesting about it. That shows you. But then again, though, we all know Tim Wilkerson's going to win the race, because he lost first round, lost first round. Yes. So it's time for a Wilkerson win, right? And he's just going to do that on the way out of the season.
Okay. That'll be, we'll go back to bowling. That's the old Dutch 200, right? For Tim, it's almost like which car is going to show up first round, because that's, and to be fair, in Reading, he made a great run first round.
Yeah.
John Force's team just was awful in qualifying, and they woke up first round and put the smackdown on him. So right. I don't think Tim's going to change anything he's been doing, because it's been working pretty well so far. But there's that's not the only couple of cars out there. You mentioned Cruz Pedregon. Cruz has got himself a good car, and yes. I think Cruz and JC are finally starting to get on the same page. There've been a couple of times in the season, and both of them have told me this. So again, it's not like I'm telling. When JC would say, "Cruz, I need you to do this," and Cruz is like, "Look, I own the car, and you work for me." But I think they're getting to the point now where they're getting a little bit more of an understanding that
trust.
If we do follow this game plan, that we have a better chance of winning the race. It's going to be better for the entire team. And you look at it. It's just so interesting that John Collins, when you list great crew chiefs out there in the funny car ranks right now, John Collins probably wouldn't be on a whole lot of guys' top 5, simply because he hasn't won the championship as a crew chief. But he's finished second, third, second, fourth, I think, with Tommy Johnson. He's always in the mix. He's winning races. He's got himself a good, solid car. And, he's not in a bad position right now, but they just need to not give away some of those races that they have given away.
Exactly. And then, of course, Top Fuel, which to me, the story, I always like to think about, what is the story of this? How do you, you pitch it? How do you sell it? How do you get someone who's not a fan interested in what we've got going on here? The first time you talk to them, hey, watch this thing. It's cool. You'll be on Sunday. You can watch it. Well, what's interesting about it? Well, Steve and Brittany, the last 4 championships between the two of them, and they're 1 and 2 in points, and really the only 2 with legit shots. Billy is 126 back. Brittany is 36 back, and that's it. And Billy has kind of expressed disinterest in being the guy that goes out there and beats Steve, right? So this is it. Steve versus Brittany home. And, maybe someone could get a win and maybe shake something up. Sure, that's possible. But these are the 2 that have been the focal point of the class for the past 4 years.
And again, it's kind of like with Pro Stock, the best car with the driver that maybe isn't holding up her part of the deal all the time, and a guy who's got a good car and is doing a better job of driving. I love Brittany to death. I can't help but wonder if she called Mike Salinas this week. I would have. because Mike Salinas all year long get beat up over his driving. And last week, oh my God, it's like somebody hypnotized him. And he was very open about the fact that, he talked to some people, he changed some things, he's focusing more. And if I'm Brittany, I'm calling. I'm at least going to call and ask, what did you do? Because she hasn't been awful by any means. She's been average-ish. And Steve and some of the others, Josh Harden, have been better than, and they've been able to take advantage of that. So that's a part that, you can work on every part of the race car. And that's a part right now that looks like it could use a little extra focus. And if I'm Brittany, I would have called him to look, tell me what you did. Tell me what, tell me, try to help me out here. And I believe Mike would, obviously, he's in a house full of girls. He's not going to say no if Brittany calls and says, hey, can you help me? But, if Justin Ashley's driving Brittany's car, how many races did he win this year? And again, I'm not bad mouthing anybody, but Justin Ashley is the class leader in reaction time, I do believe. And he's got a car that's a little better than okay. I mean, it's certainly above average.
Yeah.
And so they've been getting a decent result. Brittany has the best car, and her driving has been about average. If you could, get all those things together. And I really think that, that you just have to go, okay, what do I have to do to make this happen, and figure out what it is and then do it.
It's very interesting to see someone in the pressure cooker, and there's nothing that anybody can really do to be helpful for that situation. The number of people who have driven a top fuel dragster is minuscule, let alone in the pressure of a championship hunt. And, she's got Robert and she's got John and she's got some experience herself and Grubnick, and that's them and their team, and they're in it, and we'll see what happens. And that to me is the story. Like, Brittany's the underdog here. She does have the better car most of the time, but she's the underdog in the face of one of the great champions. Steve Torrance is, I guess if he wins this weekend, that'll be win number 50, right? Which is pretty insane unto itself. And she's got a shot. Like, what if she does pull it off? What if she goes into Dallas and takes out Steve in the final round and wins the race? And that's that 40-point swing we always talk about. Like, these things can happen. This is an opportunity for her, but it's definite that she's the underdog in this situation. But that's not a bad place to be necessarily, being the underdog. And since you mentioned Justin Ashley, they just released that Mike Green staying with the team for 2022. So that's one of those big silly season puzzle pieces that I had heard maybe wasn't going to happen. Mike Green is now locked down. So that changes some of the other stuff.
I just think, though, how many championship athletes in whatever sport have got into a funk at some point and had to figure out how to get out of it? If you want to talk about our sport, Greg Anderson one time called Frank Hawley and said, I need you to come. I need some coaching. I need a mental part of the game to try to get him back. Gary Selzy has gone through it. Guys, championship drivers at times in their career have got into a funk, and there are ways that you can try to improve. The first thing you got to do is go, okay, I need somebody to help me get through this. And then you just need to get focused on the task at hand. But we've seen it. I mean, in professional sports from top to bottom, baseball players and football players and wherever you want to go in sports, that people that have the ability, have the talent, have the desire, have the, just for whatever reason, get a mental roadblock or something going on that you've got to get past, and you've got to figure out how to get past that.
Brian King mentions the Stampede of Speed, 4 qualifying sessions, but more importantly, the open test on Wednesday. What do you think about that, Alan? That's not normally a thing. They're doing it this time, and normally you can't test on the track the week of the race. Here you can. Should every team be taking advantage of that situation? Is there any reason to not, other than financial?
Well, I mean, if you need to test, you need to test. I don't know that every team needs to go out there and test. Would you do it because everybody else is? Yeah, sometimes. But, do I think that Matt Hagan and Dickie Venables need to go out there and test? Doesn't look like it. Now, if maybe they've got some new clutch discs, or maybe they've got something they want to experiment with, or maybe they got something that they didn't do on race day, okay. But I don't see them going out to practice with their race setup. You know what I'm saying? The race setup seems to be just fine. So if it's like, hey, we wanted to try this and we just haven't had an extra run or haven't had extra time, then I think that would be a great. That would be a great opportunity. I do think, though, and we'll wait and see how it plays out. But as we've seen with preseason testing and other stuff over the years, I don't believe Wednesday is going to be a real good litmus test for the weekend. Because if somebody goes out there on Wednesday and makes 3 runs and doesn't ever make a good run, I'm not writing them off. Simply because I've been to so many test sessions when you go and say, what are you guys doing here? Well, we decided to try to put 38 pounds of air in the tires. Okay. They make 3 runs, it doesn't work. And everybody goes, oh, well, those guys are lost. No, they're not. They were trying something oddball or something wacky, and you get to the next race and they're going to be fine. So I don't believe that Wednesday is going to be a real litmus test for what we see over the weekend, because if I'm a championship team and I've got a car that's running well, I'm not going in there. You don't need practice. Your car's running fine. If you're going to test something that's different enough that you may go out and fail the test. But I say, if somebody doesn't run well on Wednesday, don't write them off the fall nationals, because that's just not the way it usually works.
Excellent. No, I'm excited about it. Big autograph session in Waxahachie on Thursday, the test session on Wednesday. There's stuff going on out there right now as we speak. 2 sessions Friday, 2 sessions Saturday, like Angelle said, like it used to be in the olden times, right? Before
well,
COVID.
They're going to have a starting line. They're going to have a starting line party on Friday. Thursday's movie night, right? The autograph session, and then Snake and Mongoose movie, and Snake's going to be there.
Yep.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, and you need to go to Stampede of Speed and check the stuff out. For those of you, I know everybody that's watching here on WFO is a pretty hardcore fan, but if you've got friends, you got family that are all kind of like, some of the events are ticketed and some of them are open to the public. So just go take a look. If you want to go, obviously you're not going to need a ticket if you want to go to the Fan Fest. If you want to go out there and, wish your favorite driver luck, and there will be plenty of Texas representation there, believe me, from Steve to Erica to McGahey to, there's a lot of Texas drivers that are going to be out there.
Yes.
But there are a number of the events throughout the course that don't require a ticket, that are just an opportunity to come out and, be a part of it. So, take a look, especially if you got somebody that's, maybe on the fence, or maybe somebody that's not a hardcore drag racing fan right now. See if you can get them to come out to a non-ticketed event and just experience the ambiance of the moment.
That's it. The Motorplex, big crowd out there. Like, I didn't realize that there were this kind of thing out here. Maybe I'll come again. It's as basic as that. Alan, great job as usual. A couple of quick things from the weekend. Just wanted to show you progress. Look at this engine.
Look at you.
It's out, baby. It is out. There it is. The before, the during, and the after. It is out. Look at that. Baby steps. Accomplished this. Now, what am I going to do with it? I don't know. But that doesn't matter. We're going to figure that out next. What am I going to do with it? It needed
just
it.
Keep moving forward.
That's it.
Keep moving forward. When I was working on that car back there, trying to put it back together, and it went through its last kind of rebirth, there were times when, you get busy, you're in and out, you got things going on, and it's like, okay, well, I need to start on that. That's going to take a week, and I'm only going to be here a couple of days. I'll do it later. And 6 months later, I hadn't done anything. So I got into the mental attitude of, if I'm coming to the shop, I'm going to spend at least a couple of hours working on that thing. And I don't care if it just means I'm going to fit one brake line. I'm going to do something.
Advance.
And then 3 or 4 months later, it's like, hey, I've made some progress. And that starts getting me enthusiastic, and it's like, okay. Because when you look at it, it's like, that's a long way from done. It's going to take forever. But then you take these little baby steps along the way, and pretty soon it's like, I'm getting pretty close to starting that thing. And for me, anyway, that ramped up my enthusiasm. And now it's so much fun that it sits back there in the shop all by itself while I'm gone for months at a time.
Well, exactly. But at least it runs, and that's where I want to get. I want to have something in the trailer that I can go racing with and do that. So Corey Savoy wants to know your prediction for tonight's Yanks versus Sulks game. The the 1-game playoff for the AL East. You're a West Coast guy. You're not into the Northeastern baseball rivalries, right?
Go Diamondbacks.
There it is. Exactly. That's what I figured you'd say. Sorry, Corey. Where
I'm taking the Sox. I'm taking the Sox just because I know that Joe's a Yankee fan.
Yes. No, exactly. You know what I'm thinking about, Alan? I'm thinking about standing on the stage out there in Epping. It was 1 versus all, with all those Red Sox fans screaming at me, yelling at me. And what did I do? I stood up there and I shook my fist at them. And now here we are in a 1-game playoff. And I'm keeping my powder dry because I'm not like crazy. They've got a really good team. But, oh, boy, if the Yankees win, that would be cool. I'm just saying.
See, now if you're a baseball fan and you think this is cool because it's like one game, win and go on, lose and go home, anything, then you should be a drag race fan. Because every time two cars come to the starting line, it's sudden death for one of them.
Yes. That's it. That's why I do, by the way. Like, I think that all the time. Like, that's it. You got to get your act together right here, right now. And like you said, maybe your act wasn't together and you still won because the other guy stunk. But, okay, there are games that are won 15-13, and there are games that are won 1-0, and you just don't know. But loser goes home. Loser leaves the state. Here we go. Yanks, Sox, and it's going to be great. And when I see you next, you'll know whether I'm wearing my Daryl Gwynn New York Yankee Racing hat or not, or just in the off season, wearing off season.
Where are they playing?
They're playing in Boston, Fenway Park. So we'll see.
That's how much I've been paying attention to baseball. Like, I don't know if you saw the deal, but in the month of September, calendar September, 2 nights I spent at my house, and I checked into 9 different hotels. Just in the 30 days of September, I checked into 9 different hotels.
That's insane. Good job, though. Listen, September was busy. It was busy, and then you had a couple of divisional races, and you're going into the Lucas Oil Studios and all of that stuff. But busy is good, especially after last year. Busy is good. All right, Alan, great job as usual. Got any final thoughts? Anything you want to say? You're good?
Nope. Travel safe. I'll see you in a couple days.
All right. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate you. There he goes, the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, with us here on WFO Radio. All right, guys, put your comments in the comments section. Let's hear what you guys have to say. And yes, Yanks versus Sox prediction. That's my Boston accent. That's the best I could do. And there's the thing, Boston, Sox. Right. We'll see what happens. This is a very dangerous time. This is it. One of these great teams, one of these great franchises is going to go home, and the season is going to be over, and they will lament the defeat. And the other will, it will be a successful season. Anytime the Yankees or the Red Sox can end the other's season and send them home, then it's not a bad year for that team, regardless of what happens in the future. And so there you go. Now, I do want to, Sarah goes and go Yankees, of course. Corey Savoy says, I hope they both lose. Yeah, that's very Tony Schumacher kind of thing. They're not going to both lose, Corey. Are we going to see you at the race, Corey? What are you doing, Corey? One question that got asked, I didn't know. Apparently, Stevie Fast picked up a little spending money in Texas last night. Yeah, they're doing grudge racing and all that, Stampede of Speed. I'll be getting there on Thursday afternoon. All right, let me get you up to speed on some news while you put your comments in the comment section, guys, your thoughts. First of all, some stories that we have been covering on WFO. Want to shout out to Dom and Sarah. Congratulations. They got married. DNS this past weekend. Look what drag racers do with a couple of days off. I took my engine out. Dom and Sarah got married. This was something that was in the works prior to Dominic's accident. And we all know that story, but they got it done. Congratulations to Dom and Sarah on just what is, something beautiful and wonderful. And may the New York Yankees win one for your wedding. That would be great. But some other news that I wanted to tell you guys about. You may recall we were talking a little bit about Gary Pritchett. We had Gary Pritchett on the show out there, Budds Creek, Maryland. They ran the deal. It was Saturday night. Things drag racers do on an off weekend. Some get married. Some take their engine out. Some go do a match race. And Gary and the Bunny and the Boys tribute car out there. Apparently there were like 30 funny cars there. Bob Zelag, who shoots for NHRA National Dragster and other things, catching some shots out there. There's Gary. But this is, I think, the coolest thing you're ever going to see. That is the Bunny tribute run, and the cloud, that's Bunny Burkett's ashes spread in the parachute, packed into the chute. And Gary got down through there. And that is as cool a send-off in the world as I think you can get. And that happens from time to time, and racers will do it from time to time at NHRA national events. They really, I don't want to say it's frowned upon. It's just, there would be a lot of it going on. But for Gary to be able to do that and memorialize Bunny, who, he has said was like an ultimate mentor for him. I can't imagine what that felt like. So congratulations to Gary. Great job. And he won the burnout contest, as he said he was going to try to do here. He won the burnout money, and then I heard kick the rod on the burnout the second run. So I call it a win. I call that a win. And then for those who have been following, I just want to put not to put too fine a point on it, I believe is the saying. Thanks to my friends, Corey and Lee wearing the WFO shirt, Corey bringing the engine hoist and out in front of my dad's house, getting the job done. Was out by 11:30 a.m. Saturday morning. And now the question begins, what to do with it, right? I can tell you that this thing, which it was heavily debated, does it need to come out? What do I need to do? It absolutely needed to come out, and it needs to gone through, right? Like you could tell the head gaskets were leaking a little bit, freeze plugs, little issues here and there, just old stuff. So I got to do this. And then, like what is the ultimate goal? Somebody said, like, I've thought a lot about this with the Patreons, especially the people who support the show directly, the advisory board, the Patreons, could it be, put it on the street? Do I, make it a pro touring car? Like there's all kinds of different stuff. And the answer is no. I'm going to do what I've always wanted to do finally. And that is get it to NHRA Super Street readiness. Specs, NHRA Super Street. Like I would call us on the 5-yard line for that. Like if I could do anything with the car, what I really would like to do is run the Orlando divisional races at the start of the season before I ramp up my Camping World Series announcing and stuff. And to me, like the car is there already, and why not? It would be fun. And so we got to do some things with the engine, and we're going to, work on the plan, right? Got to go through the engine, got to make some updates. Car runs low 10s, 1020s or so, which I think is in the wheelhouse for Super Street. Like, of course, it would be nice to have an 890 car. That's not the situation. There are guys that run Super Street with a 1070 car. I could do it with a 1020 car. Definitely. Just finding the right partners and the right people that want to support the sponsor the effort on, Project WFO, which will be covered here on WFO radio. It's going to be very interesting to go through the process, right? Because, what do you need to be successful? Well, you need a car and a chassis, which we've got. We've got that, right? The engine making enough power. We have an engine. It makes enough power. It's not blown up. It just needs to be reset back to zero, I would call it. It's 20 years old. We got to go through it, reset it back to zero. And then, transmission, converter, we're in the neighborhood there. I've got someone planned out for that. And then, of course, carburetor, throttle stop, timer situation. And then we're there. We're at Project Super Street. It's going to be considerable effort, but we're on the road, and I'm very excited for it. And big thanks to Lee and Corey, who both have cars that are capable of running Super Street, and I would love for them to join me in this endeavor. Like, to be out there. It might not be this next year, honestly, because that's like practically tomorrow. All right, let's see what everybody's got to say. What are your comments? Well, let me just thank the sponsors first, and then we'll get to the comments. Thank you so much for everybody sticks on. Like the Patreons, I mentioned the Patreons. Patreons have been getting elite content. Like they're hearing about stuff before everybody else. They're getting all kinds of great information. And that's it. They support the show directly. Last night, Sue Morris and Jolie Stanfield having a conversation about the Stampede of Speed. Just great stuff by being a Patreon. So go to the website, check out the Patreons, and maybe you want to join, or maybe you don't. If you don't want to join, it's no big deal at all. But you do help the show when you join the Patreons. Like that's tremendous extra support of the show. Marvin Rodak, 817-924-6821. Rodak's coffee. I have enjoyed an entire cup of Rodak's coffee during this show. It was great. Give him a call. Get some coffee roasted fresh per your order. Like, what do you like? What kind of coffee? From all around the world. Some plantations that grow 1 bag of coffee per year. And guess who gets it? Marvin. Plus the habanero endorphin booster hot sauce. So much great stuff. He'll be at the track this weekend. Track him down. Find Marvin. Put him in the corner. Corner him. Don't do that. Thank you, Marvin, for supporting the show. Total Seal. We're going to be speaking. We spoke with Frank Iaconio yesterday. Talked a little bit about that 1983 Pro Stock World Championship snafu that happened. But also, we're going to speak with Gary Stinnett later today. And we're going to do a Q&A episode. And then we're going to be, who was it who was asking about the school? Friday, 1 o'clock, Texas Motorplex. Well, is it 1 o'clock? I'm going to have to get a clarification on the time. Just follow my social media feed because we got the 4 sessions. I want to make sure. I think it's still 1 o'clock, honestly. But you want to learn about Ring Seal, come out to Hartford's Pit. Keith Jones, Ed Keebler, Hartford, going to be there. I'll be there too, hosting the deal. and you will enjoy a Trackside Tech Talk. Lucas Oil Series racers, engine builders. You have questions, you will learn. Trust me. The people who have been coming by this deal, if they weren't learning anything, they would be gone. They're hanging out for a long period of time. Lots of great information for those of you engine builders out there. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed. The next generation. Go get your education. Go enter the world. Samtech.edu. And Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Speaking of Frank. All right. Let's see what everybody has to say. I'm going to start at the end and work backwards. Maybe I'll do this instead. Yeah, this is one I remember. This is one I definitely remember. Corey Savoy is saying, I hope they both lose. They won't both lose. I'm nervous, guys. I'm nervous. Here's the deal. If the Yankees lose, everybody has to be fired, right? Like, this was a terrible season. So much potential at the beginning, 2 years in a row with Cole, and you can't, you're doing progressively worse. You're devolving. Can't have that. I don't know. Big question mark has always been Aaron Boone and the team and the motivation. How do you win 15 in a row and then lose 9 of 10? Like, what's going on with that? But you know what? That's what's great about the playoffs, is that you can be reborn as whatever you want as soon as you make it. And this is the argument I always make. I was making it to Billy. He calls it the loser appreciation program, the NHRA playoffs. I get it. But you can be reborn. You've made it. You've accomplished it. You're in the door. And now you start again. You start fresh. So nothing that happened matters. It's all in the past. What matters is what you do right now. You beat the stinking Sulks. And that's it. Am I doing that right? I think I am. Thanks, Lonnie. Good show. Corey says, yes, he'll be there at Stampede of Speed. Haven't seen this guy in a long time. Tom Lukens, how many passes on your Pontiac motor? Yeah. Unknown. Call it 70. Call it 70, Tom. 70 passes in 20 years. That engine was redone in like 2001, right before I got the job at XM, and a bunch of stuff happened to me personally that took me out of the racing mode. And it just kind of sat. And we did nothing with it and whatever. And now we're starting from scratch. As a Mariners fan, I hope they both lose. Just hope it's a good game. Yes, Mariners fan, Eric, appreciate you. You guys gave it a ride. Like, that was very exciting wild card race. Really is what you should be. You guys got hot at the very end and gave it a ride. Just came up a little bit short. Same with Toronto. Could have been a 4-way tie, but it wasn't. Great show, Joe. We raced this past weekend at Atlanta Dragway. Sad that will be the last Division II Summit ET Finals. Mitchell, I heard some stuff about the ET Finals out there. I heard that it was just a very sad deal being at the Atlanta Dragway for the last time. Hopefully someone chipped up a piece of something for my rock garden, right? Very sad about racetracks. Certain racetracks closing, but other racetracks will open. And that's it. We just got to hope. Still up in the air, but 80% yes for Ennis, 100% for Bristol. Oh, okay, says Corey. I understand Jerry's going to be there, though, Corey. He's on the entry list. That was pure awesomeness. Hopefully talking about the New York Yankees winning. Covered a lot of ground today. Thanks, Joe, says Jeff. Yeah, it was. Well, with Angelle. Thank you so much, Angelle, coming on the show tomorrow. Steve Torrance, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us for Steve. We need a huge audience for Steve. Such a wonderful memorial for an incredible woman. Oh, talking about Bunny. Yeah. Well, Gary. Like, that's what, that's doing it the right way. Good job, Gary. At Atlanta Dragway. Didn't Kenny Bernstein do that with his dad's ashes too? It's a tradition in drag racing. A lot of people do that. Or ask someone to do it. Ooh, a They May Be Giants reference. Attaboy. I don't know what I did. I don't know where it came out. But I did enjoy some They Might Be Giants in the high school era. Yeah. A guy who built, did I say Istanbul, not Constantinople? I don't think so. A guy who built your car has been posting a lot of pics of it on Facebook lately. Oh, really? I don't know. Maybe it's me who's been posting them. Dwayne and Ernie. Ernie is now deceased. Dwayne, great friend years ago, reconnected recently, and said, one of the nicest cars to come out of their shop. Certainly. Very ahead of its time. Car was built in like 91, and a lot of the chassis, roll cage stuff is on par with the things done today. Could use a couple more bars, I would imagine, though. Was never really designed to go much quicker than low 10s. We wanted to be able to put it back on the street whenever we wanted. A hidden horsepower in-house project. Oh my gosh, what a great idea, Jeff. a Bruzy Trans and Converter, see if Marco will sponsor you. I'm actually pretty good friends with Troy Williams at FTI, and they're in Florida. And so there's been some talk about that. Ease and convenience, number one. But number two, they're, from what I understand, really, really good and well used. And so I'm going to talk with those guys. But again, here's my thing. I want people involved that get it, get me, know what's up, know what I'm trying to do, and understand the passion of the project. Like, I'm not going to be able to go out there like Dan Fletcher and win 100 national events. It's more about showing people on the show and the countless racers who have got a car in the garage like I do, that was something back in the day, that it can be repurposed for something now, and you can go racing again. That's really what Project WFO is going to be all about. Why was your race-winning plaque at your dad's house and not in your studio? Well, I got a whole bunch of plaques. They go in the garage. I have my track champion trophies here. You may have noticed it was Super Pro second. There was a first place in between that. So we went second, first, second, 93. What was it? 93, 95, 96. I didn't race in 94. And a long time ago, right? Anyway, the track champion trophy is here. The plaques, they stay over there for motivation. The track champion trophy is in the studio. Let's see. There you go. The ashes on the chute is very cool. A lot of people ask for that. Can't do it. Aaron freaking Boone. Yeah. Aaron freaking Boone. Well, exactly. Like, Aaron Boone's greatest stat does come against the Red Sox. And I have a great story about that. I lie in the hospital in agonizing pain, pushing the button to receive what was it? Darvocet, some sort of extreme painkiller. I had my tonsils removed, and the stitches or something had come undone. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's all this blood? Right. I was in my 30s. I was an old person, and I had my tonsils removed late in life. And I remember being in the hospital watching, right, with, and Aaron Boone coming up, and he had been stinking up the joint, man, terrible nightmare slump. And I saw his name as they go to break. He's leading off the next inning, and I just, clicking, give me the painkiller, man. Give it to me. Yeah. And I felt the feeling, like I saw it coming. And the first pitch of the inning, bang, Aaron freaking Boone knocked you guys out. But then you guys got us back next year, so whatever. Oh, yeah, Corey, you don't care anyway. You are an Astros fan. Yes, you're an Astros fan. It's all coming together. You really are not one for the rules, are you? Not really one for the rules. I hope they both cross the center line at the same time. What is with the vitriol, Corey Savoy? We should be the ones angry at you guys for your cheating scam. And you don't hear any of that stuff about your cheating scam anymore. Mariners end playoff drought in 2022 just for you, Joe. Go Yankees. Hey, good for you. Good luck for you. That would be great, Air. That would be great for you. You said not to put to find a point on it. Yes, tagline. That is true. That is yes, I did. But that's the saying in general life. But I did use it, and I gave you another one. So I proved it. Joe, are you going to be end reporter for FS1 this weekend? I do not believe so. No, I do not believe so. I think everyone has gotten their travel correct this week, and everything is going to be good. And so I will be, NHRA.TV guy and NHRA social media guy and NHRA in venue guy this weekend, and excited for it because there's so much going on at the Stampede of Speed. Now, the time at the FS1 was really good, and I learned a lot. And of course, I'll be prepared, as I always am. But no, I don't think that's going down this weekend. And remember, back-to-back, Dallas, Bristol. So if you're in Bristol, and I'll be up in Bristol starting on Tuesday, because we're going there for the Engine Performance Expo, which you can watch at engineperformanceexpo.com, another Total Seal thing. Like if you're interested in engines and high performance and power and all that stuff. And that gets to the end of all the comments, which means we're going to get up on out of here. All right, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thanks to Angelle for coming on the show, and thanks to Alan Reinhart for coming on the show. And all of you listeners out there, you can really help out WFO Radio, because I believe that our saturation is still pretty low. There's not so many NHRA fans that even know that they can connect with us on a regular basis, and you are the method by which they will find out. So tell some friends, let them know. Angelle, Alan Reinhart, Steve Torrance, 2 p.m. tomorrow. Now, what am I going to do to Steve? Steve, we'll just see. We'll just see how it all goes. Steve Torrance, he won Indy. He's back after St. Louis. Like, what does Steve thinks the story should be? What should the story be, Steve? Steve Torrance, hell of a guy. Steve Torrance versus Brittany Force. Like, I don't know. That's the only story I really see. And with Brittany as the underdog, can Brittany Force capture the moment, go into Texas, get a win, and put herself back in the fight with 3 races to go? Like, that would be a big statement. Now, doing it is the challenge. Like, you can talk about what the story would be or could be or all of that. But does she have the team to do it? Yes. Is she the driver to do it? Yes, she can be. What do the Capco boys have to say about it? Ooh. That's the drama. That is what makes it so cool. And then the Erica and the Greg, and there's just so much greatness going on. If you're going to be out at the track, I'll see you there. Big thanks to everyone for watching and listening and sharing and retweeting. And yesterday, Facebook was down. Oh my gosh, down. Maybe everybody should go to YouTube, WFO Radio TV, and subscribe and click the bell just to have a secondary method. I kind of like that idea. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. We'll see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Steve Torrance, WFO.